So you got your 1 month, 3 months, 6 month, 12 months, 10 years worth of food. You got your water all lined out with stored water and ways to purify water. You've got all the defensive freedom tools and food for them that you could possibly need. You have an excellent location. You got it set, right? You got it made. How are your people? What is your people situation? That's what I want to talk about today. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. I hope you all are having a great day. I am. I just got back from picking a few peaches. Oh, I've got a bowl right here. You want to see them? See if I can turn this around here. I just picked some. We got a lot more coming in, but I picked these just for like to have them, today, and we leave a bowl out for everybody to come by and have them as they want. Aren't those pretty? Yeah. I don't use any chemicals on my trees or anything like that, so some of them fall on the ground and some of them get a bug in them, and that's all right. I know that I'm not eating chemicals. Also, to be real honest, I've had some people who have asked me who got some land. They said they've asked me what kind of plants and trees should I put out there on my land. They don't live on the land right now. Just to kind of get them going, just to get kind of a food forest and an orchard and that kind of stuff going. And I always say go out and plant a bunch of apple trees and peach trees and pear trees and plum trees and what else? Blackberries and raspberries and grapes and all of these things that you can just pretty much leave out there, that have grown without man's help for many years. Now, do they do better with our help? Yes, of course they do. But just get them going, because if you have a place out there and you plan that you think you might have to move there sometime in the future, you want those trees bearing fruit by the time you have to get out there. So get them going if you have a place like that. Anyway, all that was because I said I don't spray my stuff because I want to see how they're doing. Some strains will do better than others. I want to see how they'll do without me out there spraying stuff on them. Besides that, I don't want to eat that stuff that you'd spray on them. I don't want my kids to eat it. So one more thing before we start. I just answered I got a message from one of our patrons on the Patreon channel who asked me, I guess he went over and I've answered him, but I want to answer it here too because there may be other people that have the same question. He says, I went over to join the American Reversion Patreon channel, but how come it's $5 instead of $1? Which is not, and I'll tell you that in a minute. And how come you can't put all this stuff together into one channel? How come you have two channels? All of that. Well, anyway, I explained it to him, but I want to explain it to anybody else who may also have those questions. And if you have run into a situation to where you went and wanted to join the Patreon or the American Reversion Patreon channel, I don't know why that would have happened. It's not $5, it's $1, just like the Integrative Preparedness Patreon channel. So if you've run into that, just kind of click around. I'm no expert on it. Click around, find it, just put down. No, we do have a lot of people that do pledge $5 a month, and it's not necessary. Pledge what you want, but it's not. Just poke around a little bit and you should be able to see, hey, I just want to do $1 a month. If you want to do $1 a month, $2, $3, whatever you want to do, it's up to you, but you don't have to pay $5 a month for that. And the reason that I have it, as I explained to him, is that I found it necessary to separate the channels, and that's why I started American Reversion, to cover more of the the daily happenings and the political stuff. Because when I put it on Preparedness, and I had never meant for Integrative Preparedness to become political, or events of the day, except how it would impact preparedness. And when I would put stuff like that, I'll be honest, I just got too many rude comments that I didn't appreciate, and some of the others didn't appreciate either. And it's too bad. But that's the way it goes. So when I separated and made American Reversion that channel, just pretty much the politics, we've had absolutely no problem at all with that. So if you also enjoy politics and events of the day, and how do we get our country back? Integrative preparedness is what we do if everything collapses. How do we survive, right? American Reversion is how do we keep it from collapsing if we can, if that makes sense. And then each of those has a Patreon channel also for the things that I either don't want to put on or can't put on the YouTube channel, because YouTube will scrub them or all, whatever. And there's a lot of little, some personal stuff, incidentals that I also put on those. Oh, he's after somebody. That I've just decided I don't want to put out to the masses. It's just kind of, it's a cover charge for extra stuff. That's what it is. Okay, so wherever you are, it's good to have you. People. So most people think about the equipment, the supplies, all that when it comes to preparedness. And in my opinion, while those basics have to be covered, people are far more important. I'd rather have two good people with me and be starting almost from nothing than have everything in the world and have a couple of problem people. And you all know what I mean with that. Well, one of the great lessons of my books, the Stone Knot series, was community. It was the building of community. It was, I covered all the basics of preparedness, the physical parts of preparedness, the location, the equipment, all that kind of stuff, the skills, all that. But really what the story was about, it was about people. It was about how the right kind of people, most of whom did not have any background in or knowledge of preparedness, and how they came together because of their personal qualities to be able to function, to survive, under the leadership of somebody who did have that in mind. And then create a community worth living in. I was talking to somebody the other day, and somebody asked me, and I'm going to make a separate one on this about groups. I'm not much of a group person. I don't like groups. I don't join groups. I think that people, quality relationships, quality. You've heard me refer to, what most people would call a group as my circle of friends. I believe that people come together best organically when they are drawn together by commonly held views and values and things like that. And through that comes a strength of community that you're not going to get if you bring together a bunch of people who may have a bunch of skills, but really aren't good people who want to cause dissension and cause trouble within the group. Pretty much every group I've ever been a part of, it seems, there's always one or two that are going to bubble up to the top that you find are talking badly about people behind their back, or just trying to kind of find the cracks, saying those little things that, what do you think about, I don't know about that thing that Bob said. I'm kind of uncomfortable with that. What do you think with that? And what those people are doing, because they're unhappy with themselves, and they want to try to be the boss, or be seen as they're trying to find the cracks in the group or the organization or whatever. And when they do find a crack, and they always will, because not everybody's going to be 100% on the same page always. It's just not the nature of people. And so when they do find a crack, and they find somebody that says, yeah, I kind of feel that way too, and then they're going to go over to a third person and says, so-and-so and I were talking about, we have some real concerns about what Bob is wanting to do here, and they're gonna follow that dog, until they find somebody else that says, well, yeah, I guess maybe, and all of a sudden you've got a rebellion brewing in there, a mutiny in there. Somebody, whether they're going to try to, take over, whether they're going to try to split off, whether they're just going to try to make themselves, they just stir stuff up. For whatever reason, you're going to have these people. That's usually what you get in a group that was started for purposes other than friendship, and groups that start other than organically. I would much rather have the guy down the block who's a decent guy, who's just he's just rock solid. He's just solid. He's nice. He knows what he knows. He's willing to share what he knows. He'll come up and help me pick my peaches. And just wants to live his life, and then when it comes down to whatever friendships he's developed, they're tight friendships. There's not this trying to one up and backbiting and stuff. I'd rather have him, and also who will work together and is reasonable. I'd rather have him than the retired SEAL down there. That and there's plenty of great SEALs. I've known some guys that were just great and would fit in, but I'm using this as an example. Then the retired SEAL who is a little wound a little too tight and won't listen to anybody else, and kind of lives on his level all the time. That's not going to be the kind of cooperation that really you want, both today and in the future in a problem. One of the other things, and I know somebody will say, yeah, but when his skills are needed. Yes, I know when his skills are needed. A lot of people have those skills, to be real honest. One of the other things that the guy asked me was in the one who was asking about the channels. He asked, would I define integrated? And I think he probably meant integrative, but yes, integrative. The whole concept of integrative preparedness is to be able to function. It's the design, the way of living that enables you to not only live independently of the external interrelated systems on which you rely now, but over which you have little or no control, but which also enhances your quality of life today. Okay, so it ensures your survival and continued well-being in the future, while improving your life now, so that when it comes, when the big one comes, you're going to have as little change as possible. On the back of my first book here, there was a squib that was taken out of the book, and it says Jim. This is the reversion, the first of the Stone Monk series. It says Jim Wyatt had always said that if everything fell apart, he didn't want to just survive; he didn't want to notice. That's right. That's really what it's all about. Now, can we ever get to that point where you don't notice at all? Well, probably not. But you want to minimize, the negative effects on you of anything that may happen, whether it's a blip in the banking system, whether it's I guess Google had one of their data centers had an explosion in it or something the other day, and it shut down a bunch of Google affiliated stuff. Well, that apparently was only for an hour. Was it a test? Who knows? So what if it was longer than that? What if you were denied the services that you rely on from the world? How much would it affect you? And real preparedness is when you notice it as little as possible, because you have implemented those systems of your own that can take over. It's just like having a generator that kicks in when the lights go off. But you should have that in every element of your life. But the quality of life goes far beyond the physical survival. And where that comes in is, number one, God, number two, people. People that you respect, that you like, that you love, perhaps. Those are two different things. One of my favorite scenes, if you've ever watched the movie Shenandoah with Jimmy Stewart, and the character played by Doug McClure, I think, goes to Jimmy Stewart, and he's going to ask him, if he can marry his daughter. He's going to ask him for her hand. And Jimmy Stewart, he's lighting a pipe or a cigar, I think, and he says, well, he looks at him in that Jimmy Stewart drawl, and he says, do you like her? And Doug McClure, who's a Confederate officer, said, well, sir, I love her. And Stewart shakes his head, and he says, nope, didn't ask you if you loved her. I asked you if you liked her. Two different things. That's a good point. There can be people that you love, could be family members, could be other people. But do you like them? Because, and this kind of goes to other people too. You may have respect for somebody. You might have, you might like their skills. You might, whatever it is. Do you like them? And here again, some people might say, but when it all collapses, it's not a matter of liking people, it's pulling together. And well, you'd be surprised how important liking people is. It really is. And that's the quality of life, that you need to develop that circle of friends, that circle of people that you like, that you respect, that you would enjoy sitting down and talking with about any number of things. Who are the people that you're comfortable with, and that that they would have your back, that they would be there to help? Not because they're part of a group, but because they're your friend. That, to me, is probably the most important thing in long-term preparation. Now, there will be some people who say, well, I'm just a loner, I don't much like people. And I tell you what, I have said that. I have said, I like horses a lot more than I like people. That was mainly because of the people that I knew at the time, to be real honest. Okay, and not all people are the same. You'll hear the professional cynics that they want to act all real, like realists. They want to act. I don't know why. People are all the same. No, they're not all the same at all. People are different. And if you think that people, I don't want to say that to you, if someone thinks that people are all the same, they have not developed a proper discriminating way of telling the difference between people. So that's what you really want to do. If you and to stay away from people, oh, the more people that I meet, the less I like them. There's no good people around here. There's no good people in my neighborhood, in my town, where I work. And they're like, yeah, there are. There are. Hey, you just haven't found them. Now, you might ask why. You might ask, is it something about the vibes you're giving off that's kind of keeping those people away? Or is it the filter that you've put up over your own eyes that doesn't let you see the difference between people, doesn't recognize the goodness in some and the non-goodness in others? Or are you just one of those that kind of, I'm just me, and if they don't like me, well, that's a real abrasive personality. I just say what I think. Okay, well, if you just say what you think. You see that? They mean that to sound like, well, I'm just an honest person. Well, you can be an honest person without being abrasive. Because to be abrasive is going to push people away. And you will find, those people have their, mutually abrasive people around them. But it hardly makes for a happy life. It hardly makes for a good group. So my advice in this is that if you have all these other things already in place, or even if you're just beginning, start to concentrate on identifying and developing a good group of people. Again, like I said, this whole series here, 5 books. Yeah, it's an adventure story. Yes, it's a whole lot of lessons about preparedness and survival and things like that. But what it really is, it's a story of people. It's a story of people. It's a story of good people that came together, helping each other to establish a life that, I get so many emails and notes and things like this from people that say, when I read this series, I want to live there. I know, I kind of do live there. And I agree with that. Every time I deal with some of the stuff going on in the world, and then I get back to writing the next book, I said, boy, it's nice to be back here. but this is what it is. It's about people. I don't think I said if you want to know how to get them, I always put the links down below in a pinned comment or the information section. That's how you can get. They're on Amazon. You can get them from me personally, however you'd like. All the information's down there. But it's a story of people. And like I started to say, and I think I interrupted myself, it's a story of good people coming together and building a quality community and lifestyle. And it's about people that aren't good and how to handle them, how to deal with them. I had somebody ask me in another question, how do you handle problem people in a group? I'm going to make a separate one on that. It's not going to take very long either. I'll make a separate one on that. But anyway, I'll conclude that here. Polish up your people skills, your people selection, your bringing together, get to know people. You know the old saying, in order to have a friend, be a friend. And I don't think there's anything more important than that when it comes down to preparedness and survival and long-term, and establishing the kind of life that you want right now. It will improve your life now, not just prepare you to survive whatever may happen down the road. So I'll leave it at that. I'm going to have, I think I'll have one of these beautiful peaches for breakfast, along with some other stuff, bacon and eggs and things. And I hope you all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.